Good morning. This is Embedded System DET 3102. Course outcomes. Students will be able to select the relevant microcontrollers for various industrial applications. Students will be able to use embedded C programming language to maintain the embedded system. Students will be able to interpret the communication standards of embedded systems. Students will be able to develop basic applications of the embedded system. Students will be able to interpret features of real-time operating systems. So we have seen the inter-system protocols, intra-system protocols, isn't it? Inter-system we have seen the USB UART, USART, and intra-systems we have seen the I2C, then SPI, sorry, I2C, then SPI and CAB. Okay, I2C, SPI and CAB. So these three we have seen. From that we are discussing the SPI interface, isn't it? We are discussing the, now we have discussed the SPI and we have discussed the CAN also. We have started the RS-232 communication standard in the previous lecture. RS-232 is used to transfer the data to and from the desktop PCs or similar devices. The RS-232 is useful in the data acquisition of the applications, in control applications, sending control parameters, and in general debugging. Data acquisition means fetching the data or delivering the data, sending the data, receiving the data and sending the data. To acquire the data means some sensor is there, from that data is received, or some actuator is there, to that the data is given. So RS-232 is useful for data communication, for control communication, and for general debugging. In 1997, the Telecommunication Industry Association released the Serial Communication Protocol, so TIA 232 version F, and universally it is referred to as RS-232 in recommended standards. So similar standard is also there, V.28, established by International Telecommunication Union ITU and CCITT, the Consultative Committee International Telegraph and Telephone. The RS-232 standard includes the details of the protocol to be used for data transmission, the voltages to be used on the signal lines, and the connectors to be used to link equipment together. So RS-232 standard includes the details of the protocol to be used, the voltages to be used, and the connectors, wires to be used. This we have discussed. So protocol, voltages and connectors. Okay. The standard RS-232 is comprehensive and widely used. RS-232 works on data transfer rate up to 115 or 330 kilobits per second. RS-232 data transfer can be over a distance of 15 meters or more. RS-232 is a peer-to-peer communication. So basic RS-232 protocol is there. RS-232 is a character-oriented protocol. Okay. RS-232 is intended to be used to send a single 8-bit block of data. To transmit a byte of data over RS-232 link, it is generally send a start bit, send the data 8-bit, or send a stop bit. Stop bit or stop bits. Start bit is there, one single bit, and stop bit or bits are there, either 1 bit, 1.5 bit or 2 bits. And it is sending the data of say 8 bits. The UART takes care of these details. Okay. RS-232 uses an asynchronous protocol. Okay. UART is asynchronous. Both the ends of the communication link have an internal clock running at the same time. As it is the asynchronous, it is a UART, there will be internal clock for both the systems, transmitter and receiver system. The data in case of RS-232, the start bit is then used to synchronize the clock if necessary. Okay, if there is a start bit, that bit is used to synchronize the data if it is necessary to ensure the successful data transfer. If already one communication is going on and in between there is some idle condition, and then again the start bit is there, already clock is running at the receiver also, so there may not be need of resynchronization again, but the start bit is used for synchronizing the clock. Then RS-232 generally operate at one of the restricted range of baud rates. So typically these are 75, 110, 300, 1200, 2400, 4800, 9600, 1400, 400, 1900, 200, 19,000, 14,000 to 400, 19,200, 28,800, 33,600, 56,000, 1,15,000, that is 115,000, and rarely 33,000 baud. So out of these 9600 baud is very safe choice, as it is very widely supported. So availability is there, popularities, and it is commonly or widely used. So 9600 baud rate is there. So RS-232 voltage levels, if you consider, the threshold levels used by the receiver are 3 volt and minus 3 volt. Okay, threshold levels are 3 volt and minus 3 volt, and the lines are inverted. The maximum voltage allowed is plus minus 15 volt, and note that these voltages cannot be obtained directly from the microcontroller port pins. Some form of interface hardware is required and is used. Okay, the voltages cannot be obtained directly from the microcontroller pins. Some form of interface hardware is required. Okay, directly pin कडून voltage RS-232 ड्रायव्हर सर्किटला घेतलं जात नाही, तर काहीतरी किंवा एक्सटर्नल सर्किटला घेतलं जात नाही, तर काहीतरी इन बिटवीन मीडिया किंवा सर्किट वापरलं जातं. फॉर एक्झाम्पल MAX 232, MAX 233, these are the popularly widely used line driver chips. So ड्रायव्हर चिप्स वापरल्या जातात, म्हणजे पिन वरून डायरेक्टली एक्सटर्नल जो सर्किट आहे त्याला कनेक्ट केलं जात नाही, +3 व्होल्टेज -3 व्होल्टेज. ओके, तर तो काय केला जातो, MAX 232 किंवा MAX 233 या आयसीज मधून, या ड्रायव्हर आहे, लाईन ड्रायव्हर आयसीज आहेत, त्याच्यामधून तो कनेक्ट केला जातो. म्हणजे ड्रायव्हर्स कनेक्ट, ड्रायव्हर हार्डवेअर वापरलं जातं. In between there is some hardware, and that is MAX 232. So this is the hardware using MAX 233 or MAX in the RS-232 trans receiver. So this is the connector, this is the IC, this is to TX pin P3.1 to RX pin P3.0. We can configure accordingly. So to this IC there is, to 7 number pin there is a VCC, to 1 number and 20 number pin are TX RX connections, and 6 and 9 are grounded, and 19, 18 are RX TX to the port connector. So if this connector is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6, 7, 8, 9, so like pins. So 2 and 3 pins are there which are connected RX-TX, or 2 and 3 are TX-RX. 5 pin is connected to ground from this through capacitor. It is also connected to VCC. VCC ground, there is a 0.1 microfarad capacitor. Then pins 12 and 17, 11 and 15, pin 16 and 10 are connect together. For this IC, pins 12 and 17 connected together, pin 11 and 15 are connected together, pin 16 and 10 are connected together. So this is about the details of the IC MAX233, and the same is shown with the microcontroller. So this pin number 3.1, 3.3 is written here, but the IC is shown, which is having pin number 3 and 3.0 and 3.1. 8051 IC is shown, which is having P 3.0 and P 3.1, and these are acting as the serial transmit and receive, and other circuit is same. The circuit is same, only thing is this is connected to 2 and 3. The only thing is 8051 IC is shown. Okay. So this is MAX233 driver, line driver IC for protocol RS232. The software architecture is, suppose you wish to transfer the data to the PC at standard on the 9600 baud rate, then standard 9600 baud rate is 9600 bits per second. Transmitting each byte of data plus stop and start bits involves the transmission of 10 bits information, assuming a single stop bit here. Okay. So parity also will be there. Stop bits, stop and start 2 bits are there, and without parity 8 bits are of data. So the total 10 bits are there. So as a result, each byte takes approximately 1 millisecond to transmit. For 10 bits, 1 byte transmission, 10 bits are there. 10 bit it will take approximately 1 millisecond, 0.1 millisecond per bit. With this baud rate. Suppose, for example, we wish to send this information to the PC. Suppose this is the information. Current core temperature is 36.678 degrees. This is the information. So C is one character, U is one character, R is one character, next R is one character, E is one character, N is one character, T is one character. There is a space, that is also one character. Then again CORE. So if you count this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, space 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, again space 13, then temperatures are T, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. So 42 characters are there, along with decimal character. Then the task of sending this 42 character will take more than 40 milliseconds to complete, and this will frequently be unacceptably long duration. Okay. So the most obvious way of solving this problem is to increase the baud rate. However, this is not always possible, and it does not really solve the problem. The better solution is to write all data to buffer in the microcontroller. Buffer मध्ये ठेवून द्यायचं आणि तो मायक्रोकंट्रोलर त्याचा तो सेंड करत राहील, पण त्याचा तो सेंड करण्यासाठी मग त्याला काही स्टँडर्ड आणि ड्रायव्हर आयसी आपल्याला मेंटेन करायला लागेल किंवा डिसाइड करायला लागेल. तो मॅक्स प्रोटोकॉल आहे 232 आणि हार्डवेअर आहे मॅक्स 232 किंवा 233. The content of this buffer will then be sent usually 1 byte at a time to the PC using a regular scheduled task. Okay. म्हणजे हा टास्क आपण डिसाइड करून करायचा नाही, तो बफर मध्ये ठेवून द्यायचा. पीसी ला जसा वेळ मिळेल तसं तो शेड्यूलिंग करून करून ट्रान्समिट करेल. सो सॉफ्टवेअर आर्किटेक्चर कसं असेल त्याचं, सपोज हा डेटा आहे आपल्याला पाठवायचा आहे. करंट कोर टेम्परेचर इज 36.678 डिग्रीज हा पाठवायचा आहे. ऑल कॅरेक्टर्स आर रिटर्न इमिडिएटली टू द बफर, व्हेरी फास्ट ऑपरेशन. बफर मध्ये हे सगळं सेव्ह केलं जाईल. अँड शेड्युलर सेंड्स 1 कॅरेक्टर टू पीसी एव्हरी 10 मिलीसेकंड. फॉर एक्झाम्पल म्हणजे 1 कॅरेक्टर, नेक्स्ट कॅरेक्टर, थर्ड कॅरेक्टर असं करत करत तो पीसीचं काम चालू असताना बफर तो सेंड करत राहील पॅरलली. तो आदनमधनं जेव्हा त्याला जमेल तेव्हा तो रिसिव्ह करेल. Using the on-chip UART for RS-232 communication, the UART is a full duplex, meaning it can transmit and receive simultaneously. It is also receive buffered, meaning it can commence reception of the second byte before previously received byte has been read from the receiver register. So buffer असल्यामुळे रीड करायच्या आधी सुद्धा आपण घेऊ शकतो आणि बफर मध्ये स्टॅक करून ठेवू शकतो, स्टोअर करून ठेवू शकतो. त्याच्यामुळे रीड करायची आपल्याला काळजी करायला लागत नाही. समजा तो रेडी नसेल, रीड करत नसेल, तर आपण तोपर्यंत बफर मध्ये ठेवू शकतो. सो द सिरियल पोर्ट कॅन ऑपरेट इन 4 मोड्स. दिस सिरियल पोर्ट कॅन ऑपरेट इन 4 मोड्स. कुठले कुठले मोड्स असतात? 1 synchronous mode is there and 3 asynchronous modes are there. Okay. It is generally having primary interest in one mode, synchronous mode असेल. In this mode, 10 bits are transmitted through TXD or received through RXD. The start bit 0 is there, 8 bits are there. LSB first जाते and stop bit 1 असेल. हा फॉर्मॅट असेल. Start bit 0, stop bit 1 and whatever data bits are there. So peripheral this is RS-232. Okay. So this is about the RS-232. So RS-232, one start bit is there, that is it is 0. Then there will be 8 bits of data. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then that bits may be 1 or 0. It may be 0 as well as 1, but start bit is 0 and stop bit will be 1. So it will be 1. So this total frame is 0 and 1 of 10 bit. Okay. So this is about the RS-232. Okay. So and MAX 232. Then there will be protocol, peripheral component interconnect, PCI, communication protocol. Okay, so this protocol is used in the personal computers. The peripheral component interconnect is there. PCI was introduced by Intel in 1992. Okay, it was introduced or given by Intel 1992. The PCI bus come in both 32 bit, that is speed of 133 megabits per second, and 64 bit versions, 32 bit and 64 bit, and was used to attach hardware to the computer. Although commonly used in computers from the late 1990s to the early 2000, PCI has since been replaced with PCI Express. Revisions came in 1993 to version 2.0 and in 1995 to PCI 2.1 as an expansion to industry standard architecture bus, ISA bus. Unlike ISA and other earlier expansion cards, PCI follows plug and play (PNP) specification. PCI follows plug and play (PNP) specification and so did not require any jumpers or DIP switches. Okay. PCI जो आहे तो आपण कनेक्ट केला की इमिडिएटली वर्किंग सुरू करतो. So plug and play PNP specification and so did not require any jumper किंवा DIP switches. त्याला सिलेक्ट करण्यासाठी काही जम्पर अरेंजमेंट किंवा स्विच अरेंजमेंटची गरज लागत नाही. In computing, the plug and play device or computer bus is one with a specification that facilitates the discovery of an hardware component. म्हणजे component आपण कनेक्ट केल्यानंतर तो हार्डवेअर component तो कम्प्युटर असेल किंवा तो डिव्हाइस असेल ऑटोमॅटिक डिस्कवर करतो, ऑटोमॅटिकली फाइंड आउट करतो. So in computing, a plug and play device or computer bus is one with specification that facilitates the discovery of hardware component in a system without need for physical device configuration or the user intervention in resolving the resource conflicts. Okay, रिसोर्स कॉन्फ्लिक्ट रिझॉल्व करायची किंवा युजर इंटरव्हेन्शन करून किंवा डिव्हाइस कॉन्फिगर करायची काही गरज राहत नाही PNP स्पेसिफिकेशन्स मध्ये. ओके, सो डिव्हाइस जो आपण कनेक्ट करतो पेरिफेरल कंपोनेंट इंटरकनेक्ट प्रोटोकॉल मध्ये PCI मध्ये, तर तो डिव्हाइस ऑटोमॅटिकली डिटेक्ट होतो आणि डायरेक्ट रन व्हायला लागतो. आणि ह्या PCI पेरिफेरल कंपोनेंट इंटरकनेक्ट जो आहे PCI प्रोटोकॉल, याचे जे प्रोटोकॉलचे जे कनेक्टर्स आहेत त्याला PCI स्लॉट्स म्हणतात. ओके, कॉम्प्युटरमध्ये किंवा डेस्कटॉपमध्ये किंवा लॅपटॉपमध्ये तुम्ही जर पाहिलं तर असे PCI स्लॉट्स असतात. सो दीज आर द पेरिफेरल कंपोनेंट इंटरकनेक्ट PCI कम्युनिकेशन प्रोटोकॉल स्लॉट्स. सो या फिगरमध्ये आता आपल्याला असे PCI स्लॉट दिसत आहेत. PCI 4 आहे, PCI 5 आहे, PCI 6 आहे, त्याचबरोबर CNR स्लॉट पण आहे. ओके, सो CNR स्लॉट पण आहे. सो हे जे स्लॉट आहेत इथं आपल्याला PCI 4 टाइपचा आहे, PCI 5 टाइपचा आहे किंवा PCI 6 आहे, त्यानंतर CNR स्लॉट पण आहे. हे जे स्लॉट आहे याच्यामध्ये आपण जेव्हा आपलं हार्डवेअर जे असेल त्याचा हार्डवेअरचा जो PCB असेल त्याच्यावर त्याचा कनेक्टर असेल, तो कनेक्टर आपण जस्ट लाईक इन आर्डिनो देअर आर शिल्ड्स, आर्डिनोच्या पिनवर आपण शिल्ड जसं कनेक्ट करू शकतो ना, प्रेस करून फिट करू शकतो सगळ्या पिन, तसं या सगळ्या पिन मध्ये त्या कनेक्टर जो असतो PCB वरचा तो फिट करू शकतो आपण. आणि हे आपल्या लॅपटॉप मध्ये किंवा डेस्कटॉप मध्ये असतात, PCI स्लॉट्स म्हणतात त्याला. ओके, आणि हे PCI स्लॉटला आपण वेगवेगळे सर्किट्स कनेक्ट करू शकतो. ऑडिओ प्रोसेसिंगचं सर्किट असेल PC मध्ये किंवा ऑडिओसाठी असतं, किंवा नेटवर्कसाठी लॅनचं कनेक्शन करू, इथरनेटचं असू शकतं, मॉडेमचं असू शकतं. पूर्वी असे फॅसिलिटीज एक्सटर्नली कार्ड ऍड करायला लागायचं. PC मध्ये सगळ्या फॅसिलिटी येत नव्हत्या, परंतु आता मॉडेम, साऊंड कार्ड हे सगळे कंपल्सरी झालेले आहेत. त्यामुळे प्रत्येक मदरबोर्डवर एक्स्ट्रा वेगळा कार्ड लावत बसत नाही, तर ते मदरबोर्डला आता इंटिग्रेटेडच येतं, त्यामुळे PCI स्लॉट मध्ये लावायला लागत नाही. पण पूर्वी असे PCI स्लॉट प्रोव्हाइड केले जायचे आणि त्याच्यामध्ये मग हे कार्ड्स लावल्यामुळं ते कार्ड रन व्हायचे किंवा वापरले जायचे किंवा कनेक्ट व्हायचे, कनेक्ट करता यायचे. सो दीज आर द PCI स्लॉट्स and which runs or which works on peripheral component interconnect PCI communication protocols. That's why these slots are also called PCI slots. So peripheral component interconnect extended PCIX also is there, communication protocol, in which the peripheral component interconnect extended PCIX is the computer bus and expansion card standard that enhances the 32-bit PCI local bus for higher bandwidth demanded mostly by servers and workstation. सर्व्हर आणि वर्कस्टेशन असतील त्याला जास्त बँडविड्थची गरज लागते, त्या केसमध्ये पेरिफेरल कंपोनेंट इंटरकनेक्ट एक्सटेंडेड वापरला जातो, PCIX. So it uses the modified protocol to support the higher clock speeds up to 133 MHz. जसा हा आहे तो 133 Mbps आहे, तर तो 133 MHz पर्यंत आहे, but it otherwise similar to electrical implementation. Okay, PCIX 2.0 added speed up to 533 MHz, which is reduction of electrical signal levels, म्हणजे amplitude पण रिड्यूस झालेले आहेत. आणि एक मिनिट, मला कॉल आलाय, एकच मिनिट मी घेतो. So what we are discussing is regarding the PCIX. PCIX 2 added the speed up to 533 मेगाहर्ट्ज विथ रिडक्शन ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल सिग्नल लेवल्स. म्हणजे सिग्नल लेवल्स पण कमी झालेले आहेत, त्याच्यामुळं लो सिग्नल लेवलला पण काम करतं ते, आणि स्पीड त्यामुळं एनहान्स झालेलं आहे. 533 मेगाहर्ट्ज. द स्लॉट इज फिजिकली 3.3 व्होल्ट PCI स्लॉट विथ एक्झॅक्टली द सेम साईज, लोकेशन अँड पिन असाइनमेंट्स. ओके, त्या पिनला, कुठल्या पिनला काय व्हॅल्यू किंवा काय नंबर आणि त्याचे काय फंक्शन असाइन झालेलं आहे तेच राहिलेलं आहे, फक्त व्होल्टेज 3.3 झाला आणि स्पीड जास्त झालं. द इलेक्ट्रिकल स्पेसिफिकेशन्स आर कंपॅटिबल बट स्ट्रिक्टर. ओके, कंपॅटिबल आहेत बट स्ट्रिक्टली फॉलो. सो फ्लेक्झिबिलिटी नाही आहे. So however, while most conventional PCI slots are 85 mm long 32-bit version, most PCI X devices use 130 mm long 64-bit slot, to the point that 64-bit PCI connectors and PCI X support are very seen on the synonymous, similar वाटतील, पण ते slot आहेत 85 mm long 32-bit and these are 130 mm 64-bit slots. So this is about the peripheral component interconnect extended PCI X. Similar to this, there is a protocol called Infrared Data Association. Infrared Data Association, IRDA communication protocol. याचं नावच आपल्याला सांगते की हे इन्फ्रारेड आहे, इन्फ्रारेड वर आधारित आहे. IRDA, infrared. So Infrared Data Association, IRDA, is one type of the personal communication area network which is deployed in the infrared rays. हा infrared rays वापरून डिप्लॉय केला जातो. ओके, डिप्लॉय करणे म्हणजे इन्स्टॉल करणे किंवा वापरणे. So IRDA is a transmission standard commonly used in the computers and peripherals like mobile phones. The primary purpose of IRDA is to provide device-to-device communication over a short distance. आता हा इन्फ्रारेडनी कनेक्ट होत असल्यामुळं त्याचा रिसिव्हरचा सेन्सर इन्फ्रारेड सेन्सर आणि हा इन्फ्रारेड ट्रान्समीटर हा इन लाईन असायला पाहिजे. इन लाईन म्हणजे अगदी समोरासमोर, इजंट इट. म्हणजे वायरलेसचं कसं असतं तर ऑल डायरेक्शनला वायरलेस ट्रान्समिट होत असल्यामुळं ब्ल्यूटूथला आपण डायरेक्शन वगैरे सेट करावा लागतो का? लागत नाही. ब्ल्यूटूथला फक्त डिस्टन्सच्या रेंजमध्ये आपल्याला दोन मोबाईल जवळ ठेवायला लागतात त्या डिस्टन्सच्या रेंजसाठी. वायफायमध्ये सुद्धा आपण वायफायचा जो स्विच आहे त्याच्या भोवती आपण कुठल्याही डायरेक्शनला आपला डिव्हाइस आपण घेऊन जाऊ शकतो, ऑल डायरेक्शन. तसं इन्फ्रारेडमध्ये नाही. इन्फ्रारेड स्ट्रेट लाईनमध्ये ट्रान्समिट होतं. म्हणजे IR LED असतात आणि IR डिटेक्टर्स असतात, इन्फ्रारेड लाईट एमिटिंग डायोड आणि इन्फ्रारेड डिटेक्टर्स. तर इन्फ्रारेड लाईट एमिटिंग डायोडमधनं जो रे बाहेर ट्रान्समिट होतो तो इन्फ्रारेड डिटेक्टरवर जर फॉल झाला, पडला तिथं, तरच तो डिटेक्ट करेल. सो इट इज इन साइट कम्युनिकेशन, line of sight communication, line of sight. ओके, सो इट इज लाईन ऑफ साइट कम्युनिकेशन. त्याच्यामुळं डिस्टन्स जो आहे तो त्याच्यावर खूप लिमिटेशन येतं. सो डिस्टन्स हे खूप कमी डिस्टन्सचा कम्युनिकेशन आपण वापरू शकतो. प्रायमरीली पर्पज ऑफ IRDA टू प्रोव्हाइड डिव्हाइस टू डिव्हाइस कम्युनिकेशन ओव्हर व्हेरी शॉर्ट डिस्टन्सेस. Distance is very short. So IRDA solves the problem of usage of cable which may differ from machine to machine. Okay, instead of cable we can have without cable wireless communication. With IRDA no wires are required, so this is easy to connect. Same devices, multiple device types like your mobile phone or laptop or other mobile phones or PDAs etc. can be connected. So this is Infrared Data Association, IRDA. So in IRDA the standard required close communication of the device. This is low power transmission and it is essential because regulations are guarding the maximum level of IR radiation and can be emitted. It is also reasonable to assume that two devices to communicate will be physically pointed towards each other before use of, and only two devices can communicate at a time. बरोबर ना? म्हणजे IRDA असल्यामुळे काय होईल, ते दोन्ही इन लाईन असायला लागतील, पॉइंटेड टुवर्ड्स ईच अदर असायला लागतील आणि दोनच डिव्हाइस कम्युनिकेट करतील. जसं आपण बघितलं झिगबी मध्ये वायफाय मध्ये मल्टिपल डिव्हाइसचं मेश नेटवर्क तयार होऊ शकतो, तसं ह्याच्यात होणार नाही. तर पॉइंट टू पॉइंट इन लाईन कम्युनिकेशन असायला लागेल आणि कमी डिस्टन्स मध्ये असायला लागेल होईल कम्युनिकेशन, आणि दोनच डिव्हाइस मध्ये कम्युनिकेशन होईल. सो IRDA डझंट हॅव टू डील विथ कोलिजन्स. मल्टिपल डिव्हाइस असल्यामुळे कोलिजन्स डील करावं लागत नाही त्याला. द मेन थिंग ऑफ IRDA इज सिम्पल, चीप अँड रिक्वायर्ड लो कॉस्ट पार्ट्स. ओके, कोलिजन वगैरे बाकीचं अदर थिंग्स नसल्यामुळं हा सिम्पल आहे, कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव्ह आहे, अँड कॉस्ट पार्टचे कमी आहेत. So Infrared Data Association standard IRDA standard specification states the supported data rates can be between 2400 bits per second and 115.2 kbps over 1 meter distance. 1 मीटर पेक्षा जास्त जाऊ शकत नाही तो. आणि शिवाय ट्रान्समीटर आणि रिसिव्हर मध्ये आपण हात वगैरे कागद किंवा असं ऑब्स्टेकल मध्ये आणला तर इट विल गेट डिस्टर्ब. ओके, so latter standard has expanded support to 1.152 and 4 Mbps. Okay, the transmitter beam angle is from 15 to 30 degrees and the receiver has the viewing angle of 15 degrees. So it is shown in the figure. So devices don't have to be aimed directly to each other. म्हणजे 30 डिग्री असल्यामुळं आणि 15 डिग्री असल्यामुळं ते अगदीच त्याचं अलाइनमेंट थोडीशी कमी जास्त झाली तरी चालू शकते. ओके, एक्झॅक्ट अलाइनमेंट असं लाईन ऑफ साईट असं लागत नाही. त्याचा डायव्हर्जन्स असतो. डायव्हर्जन्स म्हणजे असं बीम पुढं जाईल तसं तसं त्याचा एरिया वाढत जातो. सो डायव्हर्जिंग अँगल आहे, व्ह्यूइंग अँगल आहे त्याचा. ट्रान्समीटरचा 15 to 30 degree, 15 to 30 degree, and receiver viewing angle is 15 degree. So 1 meter up to 1 meter it can communicate. So this also shown in the figure. Okay, so it is observed also in the figure. So this is the, you can see the details of transmitter is having beam divergence 15 to 30 degree and receiver is having beam divergence 15 degree, and the distance between transmitter and receiver may be 1 meter. So this is about the IRDA communication protocol. So Zigbee, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth are widely used, but IRDA is not that much popular, okay, because of its limitations. Then we have seen the Bluetooth communication, Wi-Fi communication, Zigbee communication in the open source software and hardware, isn't it? So we are already aware of it, and we are using the Bluetooth communication in our mobile, Wi-Fi communication in our mobile devices, isn't it? Maybe we are not using the Zigbee now, till now, but Zigbee is mostly in the industrial applications for network establishment, wireless network. So Bluetooth communication protocol is allowing a wireless short range communication between the electronic devices which operate at a speed of 2.45 gigahertz. Okay. It is low cost, and even if Bluetooth is cut off, the cord can be used in the replacement of it. Okay. लो डिस्टन्स असल्यामुळे ब्लूटूथ जरी आपल्याला नसेल तरी कॉर्ड यूज करू शकतो आपण, और ब्लूटूथ कॅन यूज लॉन्ग. इट इज ॲज लॉंग ॲज द टू ब्लूटूथ डिव्हाइसेस आर 50 meters range. It is possible to connect. For Bluetooth in mobile through the range is about 10 to 100 meters. It always possible to increase the range, and this is the symbol of Bluetooth. This we are knowing. This is registered symbol of Bluetooth. The Bluetooth communication protocol. To understand how Bluetooth works, we need to understand the Bluetooth network, or more commonly known as piconets. Pico means very small networks, piconets. And this system allows devices to exchange data. So piconets use the point-to-point and point-to-link system. Piconets use point-to-point and point-to-link system. Okay. It works as a serial communication where piconet uses master-slave relation. Okay. It works as a serial communication where Piconet uses the master-slave relation, and for point-to-point, as can be seen in the diagram, a master is connected to slave device. Okay, master is there, slave is device is there. Master controls the communication, and slave either receives or transmits the data. Master also can transmit or receive the data. Okay, we have discussed this in the open source software and hardware. Also, you can refer those lectures also. Bluetooth communication protocols for point-to-link. It functions more like a network. Okay, multiple 7 different devices you can connect. As it can be seen in the diagram, the master device is able to connect multiple slave devices. One master device is there, so this is master device, and other blue colored slave devices are there. Green colored master device is there. However, slave devices are only able to connect one master device each time. Once the slave is attached or connected to any master, it cannot connect to other master. So maximum number of slave devices a master device can connect is 7. So maximum 7 devices can be connected in this Piconet. So this is about the Bluetooth communication protocols. Bluetooth versions are there. Bluetooth has come a long way, and special interest group SIG is consistently trying to explore the possibility of Bluetooth. And since then, Bluetooth has various versions. Bluetooth version 1.0 to 1.08. It is mandatory Bluetooth hardware device and address. It is device and address mandatory. Then Bluetooth V1.1 IEEE standard 802.15.1 2002 मध्ये आलेला आहे. Bluetooth V1.2 फास्टर कनेक्शन आहे याच्यात. 2.0 प्लस EDR एनहान्स डेटा रेट आहे. EDR एनहान्स डेटा रेट. वर्जन 2.1 सिक्युअर सिंपल पेअरिंग आहे. वर्जन 3.0 हाय स्पीड डेटा ट्रान्सफर आहे. याचं फीचर आणि स्पेसिफिकेशन आहे. हा वर्जन आहे 3.0. 4.0 low energy consumption and recently in use in Apple iPhone 4s. 4.1 incremental software update. 4.2 new features in the Internet of the Things IoT साठी features आहेत 4.2 मध्ये. Version 5 increase the speed of Bluetooth low energy BLE. Bluetooth low energy BLE. Bluetooth low energy. Version 5.1 new feature in the core specification addendum, that is CSA6, and version 5.2 new feature in ELE. So these are the different features. So Bluetooth communication protocol characteristics are there. Signal can be transmitted through walls and briefcases, isn't it? So through walls the signals can be transmitted. The maximum device that can be connected in the Piconet are up to 8 master and 7 slaves. There is no need to aim your device since it is omnidirectional. Omnidirectional means all the direction. Omni means all the direction. So transmission is in all the direction. So it is omnidirectional. So there is no need to aim your device since it is omnidirectional. Bluetooth requires the government to regulate as it is possible to use same standard. Bluetooth requires the government to regulate. It is possible to use same standard. Bluetooth advantages are there. It is a global technology. Specifications are used. Bluetooth offers economic wireless solutions, both data and voice for short distances. Okay. Bluetooth offers economic wireless solutions, both data and voice for short distances. There is no need to install Bluetooth since it's inbuilt. No need to install the Bluetooth. It is inbuilt. Bluetooth is used in the mobile and stationary environment. Bluetooth is used in the mobile and stationary environment. Okay. So these are the advantages. Bluetooth. Similar to the Bluetooth, we are having one more standard, that is Zigbee. This Bluetooth and Zigbee we are already discussed in detail in the open source software and hardware, isn't it? So this is complementary to that. You can refer open source software, hardware, Bluetooth and Zigbee details here also, and the open in the embedded system also. And for embedded system Bluetooth, Zigbee, you can refer the open source software, hardware lectures also. All the lectures are available on the YouTube. So protocol for data communication in the embedded system is Zigbee also, Zigbee communication protocol. Presently there are numerous high data rate communication standards that are available, but none of these meet the sensors and control device communication standard. So to connect various sensors and to control various devices, so in this case the protocol is not available other than Zigbee. So presently there are numerous high data rate communication standards that are available, but none of these meet the sensor and control device communication standards. These high data rate communication standards require low latency and low energy consumption even at lower bandwidths. So there will be time latency should be less and energy consumption should be less, and they should work at lower bandwidth also. Time latency means whenever there is a availability of the data, immediately with very less time the data can be communicated. The available available proprietary wireless systems, Zigbee technology is low cost and low power consumption. In the available technology are there, wireless technology. The Zigbee technology is low cost is also there, and it is also low power consumption. Its excellent and superb characteristics make it communication best suited for several embedded application, industrial, control, home automation and so on. So these are the very excellent characteristics, that is, it is low power, low cost, low power consumption and low cost system. So it is very much popular and very much suited for various several embedded applications, industrial application, control application, home automation application and so on. Zigbee communication is specially built for control and sensor networks. The IEEE 802.15.4. So this standard is we have seen in the open source software and hardware also. IEEE 802.15.4 standard for wireless personal area network (VPNA), and it is the product from Zigbee Alliance. So these details we have discussed today's open source software hardware lecture and yesterday's lecture for Zigbee, isn't it? So this communication standard defines the physical and media access control, that is MAC layer, to handle many devices at low data rates. There are layers, physical layer, media access control layers, etc. If you go into detail into the layers of the communication system protocol, you can find this: the physical address and MAC address, or MAC address, physical address, many times same. The communication standard defines the physical and MAC access control, MAC layers, to handle many devices at low data rates. These Zigbee WPAN operate wireless personal area network WPANs operate at 868 megahertz, 902 to 928 megahertz and 2.4 gigahertz frequencies, isn't it? ISM. The data rate of 250 kbps is the best suited for periodic as well as intermediate low two-way transmission of the data between sensors and controllers. So data rate of 250 kbps is best suited if whether it is periodic data transfer or intermediate two-way communication, two-way transmission data in the sensors and controllers. Okay, so Zigbee is only protocol which suits the sensor and control circuits or networks. So Zigbee communication protocol is a low cost and low powered mesh network widely deployed for controlling and monitoring the applications, where it covers 10 to 100 meters within the range, isn't it? Zigbee is a low cost, low powered mesh network widely deployed for controlling and monitoring the appliances up to from 10 meters to 100 meters distance range. The communication system is less expensive and simpler than other proprietary short-range wireless sensors networks as a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Bluetooth Wi-Fi, if you compare with the Bluetooth Zigbee, then this is very less expensive than Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So this is the module. Zigbee modem is there. Zigbee module is there. If you look at it, so this is Zigbee module. Then the Zigbee supports the different network configurations for the master to master or master to slave communication. We have discussed the Zigbee, isn't it? Just now in the previous lecture, open source software and hardware. It supports network configuration for master to master or master to slave communication. As we know, Zigbee, there is a coordinator, there is a router, there is a end devices, there is a routing operation is also there, and there is a bridging operation is also there. Bridging operation is coordinator to coordinator communication, one network to other network communication. We have discussed this in the open source software. So as it is a coordinator to coordinator, that is master to master communication, and within the network master to slave communication is always there. Master to the coordinator to router communication, router to end device communication, isn't it? So master to master and master to slave communication can be configured. So Zigbee can be operated in different mode. As a result, battery power can be conserved. Zigbee can be operated in the battery efficient mode also. It can be go into sleep mode, and it can wake up whenever it is communication is required. So battery can be conserved. Zigbee networks are extendable with the use of routers and allow many nodes to interconnect with each other for building a wider area network. This also we have discussed, isn't it? So how the Zigbee technology works? The Zigbee technology works with digital radios by allowing different devices to converse through one another. Okay. So there is a digital radio, that is the nodes of the network, digital nodes, and these nodes can converse or communicate through one another. Okay. The devices used in this network are router, coordinator, as well as end devices, and this we have discussed. There are coordinators which establishes the Zigbee network, and the coordinator which gives the PAN addresses, PAN IDs, and the channel IDs. The coordinator which allows to the router and end devices to join the network. Coordinator which routes, and coordinator can receive, transmit the pass on the data, receive, transmit the data. Coordinator is a network creator. Then there is a router which can pass on the data and transmit, receive the data also. And there are end devices only can transmit and receive the data. Router can route the data as well as transmit, receive the data. So devices used in network are router, coordinator, and end devices. The main function of these devices is to deliver the instructions and messages from coordinator to single end device, such as light bulb. Okay. So the term light bulb and radio, these are used to understand. These are the older communication terms. So light bulb can receive only electrical current and it can generate the light. Light bulb cannot send back anything, but radio is transmitting in all the directions. In this way, the names are given. Okay. Then in Zigbee network, the coordinator is the most essential device, which is placed at the origin of the system. The start of the system is from the coordinator. For each Zigbee network, there is simply one coordinator used to perform the different tasks. The coordinator does the task, choose the suitable channel to scan the channel, as well as to find most appropriate one through minimum of interference. It can find the channel, it can find most appropriate channel for minimum interference, allocate an exclusive ID as well as address to every device within the network so that messages, otherwise instructions are to be transferred in the network. Okay, this allocates an exclusive ID as well as the address to every device within the network so that the messages, otherwise instructions, can be transferred in the network. Okay. So it is the task of the coordinator. This we have discussed in the open source software hardware. So it is supportive or complementary lecture for that. You can use both the lectures, open source software hardware as well as embedded system lectures, for both Bluetooth as well as Zigbee communication protocols. Then in Zigbee communication protocol, working of the Zigbee technology, we continue. The routers are arranged among the coordinators as well as end devices, which are accountable for message routing among the various nodes. So some are the routers. These router devices are responsible for message routing. Routing means message packet is coming from one node, they will take that in the D in and it will give it on the D out to the other node. So they can pass on the data traffic, data packets. So routers are routing the data, okay, to appropriate branch in the network. So routers get messages from the coordinator and store them until their end devices are in the situation to get them. Routers get the messages from the coordinator and store them until their end devices are in the situation. Okay. Messages are received from the routers, coordinator, and stored. जोपर्यंत राउटर messages मिळतील from the coordinator and then store them until their end devices are in the situation to get. End devices may be in the sleep mode. This is for power saving, energy saving mode. So the communication is not going on, then these devices go into sleep mode, and as and when they wake up, go into wake up mode, then that router will give their messages stored in the buffer. So routers and coordinator have buffer, and in that buffer they are storing the messages of the end devices. They are acting as a parent nodes, parent devices. These routers can also permit other devices as well as other routers to connect the network. So routers also can permit other devices as well as other routers to connect them. Coordinator also permit the routers and other devices, and routers also permit routers and other devices to connect the network. So these are the working details of the coordinator and working details of the router. Now working details of the other. That is, in Zigbee network, a small information can be controlled by end devices by communicating with the parent node like router and coordinator based on the Zigbee network type. Again, there are different Zigbee network types. Slight differences are there. End devices don't converse directly through each other. They have to first give all traffic can be routed towards the parent node like router, which holds this data until the device receiving the end is in situation to get through being aware. So it is go into awake mode. End devices are used to request any messages that are waiting from the parent. Okay, so these end devices cannot communicate among them. End device to end device communication is not possible unless and until there is a communication through router or coordinator. So end device will request the router to start the communication, and then router will take the data from the end device and put into buffer, and whatever the other end device it is to be sent, that end device, if it is in the active mode, then it can send, otherwise it will keep into buffer. Other end device, if it becomes awake, then goes into active mode, then it can request to the parent, that is the router or coordinator, to send his data. Okay, or other device becomes active or awake, then router or coordinator can send this data. So in this way, end device functioning is there. End device cannot communicate with the other end device directly. It has to go through parent nodes, that is router or coordinator, because other end device may not be in the awake mode. So if it sends the data, data will not reach to other device because it is not in the awake mode. So data is to be stored in the buffer. So that task is done by parent nodes, that is the router node or coordinator node. One coordinator is there and many routers are there in the single network. So this is about the ZigBee network, which is having the parent nodes as well as end nodes. Parent nodes are one coordinator and many routers are there. These are called parent nodes, and one other end nodes are there. So end node has to communicate through parent nodes only. Okay. So this is about the details of the end devices. So ZigBee communication protocol, ZigBee architecture is there. In the ZigBee architecture, ZigBee system structure consists of, this ZigBee system structure consists of three different types of devices, that is ZigBee coordinator, ZigBee router and ZigBee end devices. ZigBee coordinator, router and end devices. This is the architecture. Every ZigBee network must consist of at least one coordinator, which acts as a root as well as a bridge of the network. Okay, which act as a root of the network and bridge of the network also. Because one network to next network communication is required, then only coordinator can communicate, and it can act as a bridge among the two networks. So it can act as a bridge also, it can act as a root also. The coordinator is responsible for handling and storing the information while performing, receiving and transmitting data operations. It is responsible for handling and storing the information while performing, receiving and transmitting data operations. This is a architecture of ZigBee communication protocol. So these are the tasks of the coordinators in the ZigBee architecture, we can say. Then in architecture, the ZigBee routers, just like the coordinator, ZigBee routers are also having some task functions. The ZigBee routers act as intermediary devices that permit data to pass to and fro through them to other devices. Okay, they are working in the transparent mode. There are two modes, transparent mode and API modes, isn't it? We have discussed it in the open source software and hardware. So ZigBee routers act as intermediary devices that permit data to pass to and fro through them. म्हणजे या एंड कडून त्या एंड कडे त्यांच्या थ्रू जाऊ शकतं, किंवा त्या एंड कडून अदर एंड कडे त्यांच्या थ्रू जाऊ शकतो, राउटर्स थ्रू. So ZigBee routers act as intermediary devices that permit data to pass to and fro through them to other devices. End devices also are there, just like the routers. End devices are there. End devices have limited functionality. Limited functionality आहे त्याची end devices to communicate with the parent nodes such that the battery power is saved as shown in the figure. Okay, तो battery power save होते त्याची parent node थ्रू कम्युनिकेट करतो तो. त्याच्यामुळे काय होतं की त्याला मेमरी कंटिन्युअस ऑपरेट करायची गरज नाही. फक्त त्याच्या जेव्हा डेटा पाठवायचा असेल किंवा त्याचा डेटा आलेला असेल तेव्हाच तो अवेक होईल आणि तो त्याचा डेटा रिसीव्ह करेल किंवा ट्रान्समिट करेल. त्याच्यामुळे काय होईल, त्याचा जो आलेला डेटा काही वेळासाठी तो स्लीप मोडमध्ये असेल तर तोपर्यंत तो बफर मध्ये सेव्ह केला जाईल. सो इट कॅन हॅव द बॅटरी सेव्हिंग फॅसिलिटी or property. The number of routers, coordinators and end devices depend on the type of network such as star, tree, mesh networks, isn't it? So one coordinator is there, and to this coordinator the router is there, and to this router there are end devices are there. Again, one router is there. To this router there are other end devices. So this is star. So similar to that it is a tree. Similar to that it will be mesh type of the networks. So variety of the networks are possible with this. You can go for details of star, tree, mesh into any computer network theory, you can get it. So this is about the Zigbee communication protocol. For Zigbee protocol and Wi-Fi protocol, you can refer the today's and previous 2-3 days lectures of open source software and hardware also. So both the embedded system and open source software and hardware lectures on the Zigbee and Wi-Fi, on the Zigbee and Bluetooth will helpful to each other, complementing each other. Okay, so this we have completed the embedded system third unit. So references are Embedded C by Pont MJ, publisher is Addison Wilsey 2002, the 8051 microcontroller and embedded systems using assembly and C by Muhammad Ali Mazdi, Janice Gillespie Mazdi and Roland D. McIlney, publisher Prentice Hall Incorporated, 2nd edition. So these are the references. You can use these books or any other books, or you can use the online content. Lot of online content is there on the website. You can use internet contents. So these books are standard books for referring. So you can refer these books for the embedded systems. So thank you. Be at home, be healthy, be safe. We have completed unit 3 also. So these are the 3 units for MSc mid-semester examinations, which is held after 10 to 15 days after Diwali. So be ready for the MSc mid-semester examinations. Prepare the notes for the embedded system as well as open source software and hardware. There are YouTube lectures. You can go through these lectures if you require and prepare the notes. I will be sharing the notes for embedded systems as well as open source software and hardware on your Google Classroom, and you can get it on the Google Classroom. For that you have to join the Google Classroom. For submitting the assignments also you have to join the Google Classroom. All are requested to join the Google Classroom. Only 25 students have joined and remaining 7 students have not joined yet. So I request all the students to join the Google Classroom. On Google Classroom I will be distributing or giving you the notes for the open source software, hardware as well as for embedded systems. So you have to upload the notes you have written by converting it into PDF form. I will give you the links for uploading the notes. From your side you will upload the notes. I will share the notes prepared by me, so that you will be benefited. Your notes as well as my notes will be, both will be supporting your study. So you have to study for these 3 units for open source software, hardware and embedded system. They are respective 3 units for MSc papers. For end sem exam papers, ESC papers, these 3 units and additional next 4th, 5th, 6th 3 units will be there. Total 6 units will be there for end semester examination. That will continue after this lecture also. Before MSc also we can take some lectures with your coordination. If possible we will take, otherwise we can take after MSc also. We will continue. Okay, so we will meet to the next lecture for unit 4. So this is end of unit 3 of embedded systems. So thank you. We stop here.